Now, with solidarity and with these sort of wildcat actions that have been taking place across the country with the likes of Vestas and Linamar, we also need an element of organisation to ensure that the trade union movement and now the Green movement can continue to work effectively together. And one way that the trade union movement is organising itself in solidarity with workers across the country is through the National Shop Stewards Network. So I'm going to introduce Taffe to talk briefly about that. Thank you.
Thank you for that welcome, and particularly mentioning the National Shop Stewards Network. I'm the secretary, but I'm also a teacher, and I think the lessons that the Vestas workers have given to us are a lesson not only to children, as was mentioned by the previous speaker, but to all workers everywhere. And the first thing I would want to say is that the National Shop Stewards Network was set up by the RMT a couple of years ago in response to the problem of the lack of political representation. And for the last couple of years we've been supporting and agitating. But I would say that if it wouldn't have been for the RMT, maybe the Vestas workers would not have had the support that they have had, because the RMT jumped to the defence of workers who were either not in a union or not in a very active union. And it is to the credit of the workers there, especially the young workers who I've met, who actually went from not being in a union to being faced with a problem, discussing over a pint of beer and said, we can't have this, we've got to do something. And to their credit, they occupied the factory, continuing in the tradition of Vestas and previously to that the action of the Lindsay workers. And I think we're going to see more of these actions. So Vestas have continued in the tradition, but I think workers everywhere will be looking at how to fight back, because at the moment we are all filled with the spectre of mass unemployment. The unemployment levels on the Isle of Wight, I understand, are really high. In areas where I teach, there is 10% unemployment, and everybody is afraid for their job. We're being told that there is a recovery in the air, but they don't say if this recovery is going to lead to more employment. In fact, the very opposite. They're saying there may be a recovery for the bosses, but as far as workers are concerned, we're going to have to put up with rising unemployment, possibly for as long as 10 years or more. Now, the bosses at the moment think that we're going to accept this. They think we're just going to lie down or tighten our belts, make do and mend. No. Some people have said no, and more other people will say no, we're not having this, we can't have this, we can't live like this. And everybody is going to reach a point where they decide to take their future into their own hands. The question is how to proceed. How are we going to go forward? And I would say that there are two ways. There's the industrial way and there's the political way. Previous speakers have mentioned the need for nationalisation. We cannot begin to solve the climate change issue. We cannot begin to solve the issue of production of wind turbines, etc., if we don't actually control them. And I don't mean a nominal control, need real nationalisation, real control by workers who are involved in the industry and related industries, so that we can start a real discussion about how we're going to tackle climate change. And to get nationalisation means we have to take the political road. The political road at the moment, there's a bit of a roadblock, because the three parties, New Labour, Liberal and the Tories are basically dishing up the same meal, and we don't have an alternative to vote for, and we need to set about creating such an alternative, and out of the trade unions, out of the campaigns on the factory floor, out of the campaigns on climate change, I'm convinced we'll develop a new mass workers' party, and that mass workers' party will have as one of its major slogans nationalisation, and I dare say nationalisation of Vestas will be very, very high on that list. But the other road is the industrial road, and we need to make our massively powerful trade unions work for us. We had the unfortunate spectacle of, factory workers being recruited by the Railway Workers Union because they were the ones brave enough to get down there and do something about it. We need the trade unions, first of all, to highlight the Vestas issue. We need a demonstration on the Isle of Wight. We need a mass demonstration. And I haven't heard any news from the TUC, but I would hope that the TUC could organise such a demonstration and put out a call to all its trade unions to come to save the jobs of people at Vestas. If the TUC doesn't do it, maybe there are unions who are in the forefront, like the RMT, like the PCS, and one or two others, who might be able to sponsor such a demonstration. And if all that fails, we still got to hope that the RMT will do what they say they're going to do and organise that themselves. And I think if that is done, if a mass demonstration is called as soon as possible, hopefully in October, with a call to every trade union branch in the country to send people down to the Isle of Wight so that we can have a massive show of force, I think there we can begin a real, serious, industrial fight back, because we have to start now. We can't let it go on any longer. So solidarity greetings from the National Shop Stewards Network, and we hope to be there on the Isle of Wight again in the not too distant future. Thank you.